All right.
Hey guys, Greg with planetgreenzen, and thank you for coming to this channel. Now, for the people who've never been here before, what I really love to do is just inspire the world mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, and socially, because I truly believe that if we all had a holistic yin-yang balance of each one of these areas, we will live in world peace and eliminate hunger, famine, slavery, war, disease, poverty, have more health, wealth, and abundance together as one human unit on this entire planet. All right, so I have a special treat for you guys today. I've actually connected with a great guy named Tim, and just tell you a little bit about Tim before we actually jump to the interview. Tim is the leader by necessity, not by choice. So again, things happen and you sometimes have to just roll with the punches. He never wanted to be a leader, but in order to accomplish his goals of helping others, he found that leading people was actually the best way to help many people at once. And then you guys know Uncle Ben's famous quote, with great power comes great responsibility. So thanks, Spider-Man. Because a true purpose is always bigger than yourself. So far, his purpose is including teaching Swedish to Spanish speakers. He calls his initiative, hopefully I say this right, Los Suecanoles. Is that right?
Almost.
Suecanoles. It is a mix of words between Spanish and Swedish, a mixture, so that's what he came up with. He also likes promoting technology for training. He helped 2 companies so far, which is really great. His first purpose is to help people with language, and the second purpose is to help people with fitness and health through biohacking. Well, that sounds pretty interesting. He's going to tell us a little bit about that later. Los Suecanoles, he'll pronounce it right. I apologize for that. Is a group he actually leads that you can find on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And without further ado, welcome Tim. So how are you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, can you pronounce the name of your group for everyone so they can hear correctly? Because I know I probably badgered it.
Yeah, it's in Spanish, so it's Los Suecanoles, and then that's the letter ñ that could be difficult if you never used it before.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I speak a little Spanish, but so I'm a little rusty. But thank you for clarifying that for me. And I'm just, since I'm all the way here in America, in the U.S., here in Sweden, how's the weather out there for you?
It's very dull. Although, speaking about that, Swedish people have an expression about the weather. There is no bad weather, only bad clothing, meaning you have to be prepared.
I love it.
Some people hate it, some people love it when you say that.
I love that. Hey, is it bad weather today? No, you just have to wear better clothing, then the weather would be great. I like that. It's like, is the glass half full or half empty? I like that way of thinking. Great. So just start off, can you tell us a little bit about like your life journey and how did you end up where you are today as far as with like your organization, with you helping people? How did you kind of end up to where you are today?
Well, I guess I always wanted to help people, but as most people, when you're young, you can be timid. And in my case, I was like shy, timid for a very long time. And it was actually going to the US that helped me. I studied to be a science teacher in Findlay, Ohio. And because of the American culture being so open, it's easy to have first impressions and things like that. And I feel like the American people kind of like raised me into being like more outgoing, essentially.
Awesome. That is great. And how long did you stay in the US when you were here?
4 years. So I have a bachelor's. The whole 4 years. Yeah.
Great. Well, awesome. Well, hopefully you come back soon again. I'll be able to shake your hand, physical hand versus a digital hand.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So when it comes to like your business, what is your purpose in your business? What are you set to accomplish? What is your why?
My why is helping people, but with like going back to the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. I felt like knowing Spanish, I felt like I had the power to help people. So I take responsibility and I help people. And that goes great into like, not everybody can do it for specific reasons. So I think I will explain a little bit later why, because I had to discover who I am first.
Gotcha. Okay, great. That's great. And as far as, with your up to where you are currently right now, what are just some of the challenges you faced while pursuing your dreams and goals? What are some of your challenges?
This is the maybe perhaps the easiest question to answer. Knowing yourself. And the thing is, I am extroverted, intuitive, and I'm feeling and perceptive. For some people might recognize these letters as ENFP with the Myers-Briggs. And if you read about it, at least for me, it was I read my profile after doing like a personality test, and I was
Okay.
like, oh God, this fits me so well. And for the first time, I felt like I was being understood, essentially, because I have such a great need to help others that it seems that other people don't, or maybe they need to do it in another way. And before that, I thought I could be isolated, trying to focus on work and studies, but it wasn't enough. And when I did personality test, I was finally able to climb myself out of the hole that I was digging.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's like I need to help other people, otherwise I cannot feel good. Money and things like that can never satisfy me that much as helping other people, which leads to other types of problems. But
Yeah, yeah, and there's in me, I live by many different quotes, and a quote that I heard once was, when it comes to money, like money just amplifies the type of person you are. So like if you're like a selfish person, you get a lot of money, then you would just amplify that selfishness. If you are wanting to help and serve other people, when you get the abundance of money, it just amplifies that you actually can help more people. So yeah, it just kind of amplifies who you are. But the true purpose is you help people, and then like the money will come after that. So I like that you said that. Next question I have for you is, why do you personally think that most people do not ever accomplish their dreams or goals? Why do you think that is?
I think it is knowing yourself. I feel like I'm only able to follow my dreams because I know who I am. I like both with the Spider-Man thing, like with great power comes great responsibility. That was something that really stuck to me. But how it really started, I guess, was with swimming.
Okay.
I was a swimming coach already at the age of 14 while I was still myself swimming. Uh, and I was helping people with their swimming skills, of course, but I was also interested in science. So I was like, okay, so I can maybe coach people on science. So yeah, that's a science teacher. And that has been like the theme throughout my whole life, just trying to help people. But you need to have the skills in order to help people. And if you don't have the skills, maybe you need to acquire the skills, or you need to really play into your strengths. Maybe you can have it as a talent, meaning you don't really need to practice it. Some people might have it as a natural ability, and I think they need to lean into that. And
Yeah.
I've done a lot of personality tests, and it it helps explain so much, at least to me. And I think I would recommend other people do it, but some people feel iffy on the science, which, I mean, even if the science is iffy, let's say that, it helped me. And now I'm helping others. So I don't think it hurts to try to find out who you are if you don't know already.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's key because me personally as well, I've been through personal development for the past 4 years, and it totally changed my life. I think it should be mandatory for people to go through personal development, like go to school, because we're all kind of taught, one way to, and at least in the US, as far as when it comes to school, you have to be successful to do that. But I believe that if they added these elements into the school system, like personal development and finances, things like that, it'd just be a totally different world. So yeah, I think personal development is key because you find out who you are, you can dig through different layers that you did not know were there, kind of asking questions to yourself and digging deep and then getting those answers. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, next question I have for you is, what are your thoughts on other people's opinions when it comes to someone else trying to pursue their goals and dreams, and another person is negative, whether it's a family, a friend, coworker, stranger? it doesn't matter, but what is your opinion, other people's opinions, I should say, your thoughts on other people's opinions?
Okay, so that is an extremely interesting question, because I feel like I really adhere a lot to intensity. Like if someone is really intense and really somehow show what they want. And I could even go so far as to say that if someone is like, let's say, a professional slacker, I could even respect that if they are having that mindset of, I really want to be a professional slacker. But then it really has to be like thoughtful process. Like I want to do this and needs to be very specific. It's very difficult for me to relate to people who cannot be specific with what they want. But on the other hand, if they are searching for what they should do or what they want to do, I feel like I could actually be very good at helping them in that sense.
Okay, great. Now, have you personally ever had someone that went, like, as you are on your personal journey and wanted to help more people and get your education out there so people can learn and grow? Have you had anyone that has been negative towards you or tell you, well, you should not do that, just take this other route, or that's not going to work? Have you ever had anyone say that to you?
I haven't had a lot of negative people, but it's kind of funny that you say that, because I had a very short relationship of like 3 months, and I don't know, that girl or that woman, she was telling me a lot that I was wasting my potential helping others.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that felt so odd. I mean, and she's a nurse, so I felt like that seems to be like really counterintuitive.
Contradicting. Yeah, yeah.
Like you should be helping people just as much. I just do it in a different way. I guess that. Okay, so the mindset of other personality-wise, I feel like I've studied a lot of this, and some people are more material and some are more like feeling. They care about people and some people care about things, and that's just a fact. And it doesn't have to be very negative. I feel like even though that relationship ultimately was negative, she did push me in a positive way. She was, even though she was more perhaps materialistic, she was helping me realize things that I didn't otherwise. I wasn't capable without her help.
And I love how you just described that, because like you said, even though it was technically like a negative relationship that only lasted 3 months, you did get something positive out of it. You're able to take that and turn it into something positive and use that to help grow yourself and become a better version of yourself. So just for the people listening out there, the people of Zen, again, if you guys have anything in your life that's negative or that you just don't feel good about, you can always look at, there's always good in something. You can take the good and amplify it so it outshines the negative part. So you guys, you should use Tim's advice on that, taking something that, you could be bitter and just be negative about it, but you took it and made it positive. Say, hey, this was actually great. Thank you for that. And actually thank the person or thank the situation by helping you grow to another level. So that was awesome that you said that. Next question I have for you. Thank you. Kind of to go back on what you said a little earlier, why do you feel it's important for people to be educated, as far as like if they're pursuing something, like you said, become an expert at it, get really knowledgeable? Why do you think it's important to be educated?
When you say educated, I think a lot of people could assume that it's just academically, but you can take courses, or that doesn't have to be like academic credits. But I feel like there's always going to be someone better than you at any particular skill, and if you want to acquire it, you need to go to that person so that you can acquire that skill. But I guess I don't want to be too harsh on people who use their intuition. Maybe you can have a really great idea that maybe you will be the first of doing that. I guess essentially, in my case, for Los Españoles, maybe I should try to look for someone who could be my coach to really take me to the next level. And if there is no such person, I really hope there is, but otherwise I feel like I just have to add more skills in order to be able to help more people. And I feel like I'm forcing myself to do more YouTube stuff just so that I can help even more people. But I've learned so much doing it, and just because I want to help people.
I love how you put that, just because it's a lot of our listeners out there, you're taught that you think you have to be alone, have to do things by yourself. But in reality, if you look at the most successful people that are out there, they have people and teams in their organization or community to actually help them grow. Because again, there's another quote that goes, if you are the smartest person in your group, you may need to hang around a new group or get someone additional friends that are smarter than you, so you can learn from them. Because again, we all don't know everything. Like I said, there is always somebody that's better than you. Instead of, again, looking at it to where you're jealous or you have pity of that person, go to that person. Hey, I see that you actually are way better at this than me. Can I learn from you? Can I sit down with you and actually learn so we can just grow together? So yeah, you need to find people who have the knowledge that you don't, so you can learn from them. Or like you said, if the person is out there, you either just get more skills or you just find someone who's maybe similar to where they can still teach you stuff. But yeah, you always want to grow and get around people who are successful and have a greater mindset so you can learn from those people. So I like how you said that. So that was awesome. Uh, what is something that people actually thank you for the most? So they say, Tim, thank you for this. Tim, thank you for this. Is there one specific thing that people thank you for the most?
I mean, when I was living in the US, I feel like that's maybe those are moments I remember more strongly because of the context, maybe. But let's say that I've always been a good listener. So people have always been very thankful and just like, I'm remembering other things in the context because people say like, oh, you're not like other guys, you're not an asshole. And like women telling me that. And it just feels like in that context, I guess I could feel very lonely in that sense that, okay, one way to explain why one of the reasons I could feel very, very lonely. So it's a little bit scientific. I took a psychometric test and I scored 97th percentile in agreeableness. And men typically score around 30 to 40% or percentile. And that's because men more typically care about money or resources than other people. That's why they are typically more like CEOs and things like that, because it's results. And women more typically become teachers, nurses, and things like that. And they score around 60, 70 on the percentile. And I scored 97. And I was like, okay, that explains a lot. Being so high on agreeableness makes me a target for being taken advantage of. And also a lot of my life story, I base it around my relationships. That seems to be a trait more typically of those who are agreeable. And that's why I think it's very important to know your strength. Why I'm doing helping people through Los Bacañoles is because that's my physical nature. I cannot ignore my physical nature. But knowing this, it's more easy to accept, like, okay, I cannot really, I guess, change this. I have to play it as a strength instead. And if I wanted to be like a CEO, I probably would not be so successful, because in terms of results, unless I can create, like, I guess Virgin Mobile, Richard Branson is used as an example where he's like, take care of your employees and they take care of your business. And that could be like my style, I guess. I need really take care of my employees if I have them, and they take care of my business. And that's how I guess you could succeed in business being very agreeable. You really have to take care of your employees and they will take care of you, in a sense. Otherwise, it's not possible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot more companies are actually starting to realize that, to where you can't just treat people like a number, just treat them like they're dirt, because without those people, your business will not be successful. So I think a lot of people are starting to catch on. I mean, there's still companies out there that operate like old school, I should say, but I think people are starting to catch on to where, hey, you have to treat people right, treat them fair, so then they can help your business grow as well. So I think people are catching on, but it's still taking some time for a lot of people to wake up to that. What is one thing that you've failed at?
Oh, one thing that I failed at. I mean, if you're not failing, you're not trying. So, but I'm trying to remember like one specific thing right now, and it's just like, I mean, I failed at relationships. That's why you have multiple relationships, and hopefully you will find the one that you work well with, because you have failed many times, and that's why you become better. But it's difficult to remember something that specific right now. I guess one mistake that I made that is kind of like more for the viewers to make it a little bit more fun to listen is that I danced too much and I tore my ACL during the limbo.
Oh, wow. Oh, the limbo sounds fun.
So that was a mistake. Instead of listening to my body, I guess that's a very good general advice. I was not listening to my body, and I ended up tearing my ACL during the limbo.
Ouch.
And that's because I didn't listen to my body signals, the pain that I already had, and I wanted to push a little bit more, and then I pushed too far.
Gotcha. Well, hey, you're having fun doing it, so you'll be okay. You will heal fast. uh, okay. What is one book that influenced you the most, and why?
The thing is, it's been a very long time since I read a book, but I think I can give everybody a very, very interesting concept that have helped me, and
Okay.
through that concept, I've been able to help others. There's this strength and conditioning coach from Canada,
Okay.
Christian Thibodeau, and he has developed a system called neurotyping. And your neurotransmitters that you have and the receptors of those neurotransmitters affect your personality, and it affects how you should train, how you should eat, well, and your personality, and they can influence each other in turn. So I could give you like a brief of the 5 types that there are.
Okay.
So a typical CEO is a type 1A, dopamine dominant, not very empathetic, typically likes to lift very heavy, really fight lifting the weights, and they hold grudges. It's like it's very difficult for them to forgive, and that's because of their neurotransmitters. It's something that makes them just unapologetic. Type 1B, very similar, can be very intense. So let's say a game of Monopoly. They can be like really harsh and be like, in your face! And or like if they're losing, they can be like really furious during that game, but then they are your best friend again afterwards. But 1A, not so much, can maybe be like angry about that Monopoly game for a very long time. I am a type 2A, and it means that I'm in the middle. I'm neurodominant and muscular dominant as well. And I need a mix of carbs, fats, and proteins. Oh, I forgot to say the dopamine people, they are more typically, their diet should be fats and proteins, because it helps them produce dopamine, which they have low of, but are sensitive to. So they become optimal when they eat meats, more or less. Okay. My type, like I said, is a mix. Also, this is based in Cloninger. It's a psychology thing. So you have what's called novelty-seeking people. Those are dopamine dominant people, the ones that I already explained. I belong to the 2A, and we are affirmation or reward dependent. I really like when we're talking and you tell like spiritually, oh, I'm spiritual too. I really need to connect to other people. And they try to connect to other people because they need to lift themselves up. They can be a little bit lower compared to other people. So I need to connect to other people. That's why I do Los Cañoles as well. It's just like keeps repeating why, know yourself. And I am, okay, so my training, I am adrenaline dominant. So I can give you a really good example of what can happen with those kind of people. So I was at the gym, not motivated to train. And then the CrossFit coach asks me, do you want to try CrossFit? It felt like my brain exploded. and I was super excited all of a sudden because adrenaline activated me. And CrossFit 2As, it says I've read that 2As can become addicted to CrossFit because it has a lot of variation, exactly what the 2As need. A typical bodybuilder is usually 2B because they love the pump. They can be very emotional people. So if you're sad, a 2B will copy your emotion and become sad too. They cannot like control it. And if they imagine a story where they end up sad, they become sad for real.
Yeah.
That's how dominant their emotions are. And lastly, type 3 is typically an introverted person, but also extremely structured. And they need to eat a lot of carbs because that reduces cortisol, which they have a lot of because they are very stress intolerant. Like stress is just like that. And cardio is one of the things that apparently puts their cortisol down. Other people become more stressed from cardio. They become like more relaxed. They're like, so, I mean, I could try to go into more detail, but I feel like it could become a very long segment that it probably could deserve its own segment, just that neurotyping stuff. But I felt like I should tell because if people are listening and if they feel like they can identify with any of those types, maybe they can finally, it could be that key that can like give them the power to change what they need to change. Okay, so it's my diet that makes me not working correctly because I should be eating more protein or I should be eating more carbs because it has to do with my neurotransmitters. I feel like already for me, knowing this stuff, I have been on telling people about it, it have helped them already. And I feel like I haven't even taken their course yet. They have a course on it. And I've just listened to podcasts. And now I'm sharing that information. And it has been enough for me to help myself and help others already. So in the future, I'm definitely going to do that course. And in terms of business, I would really like to be a personal trainer using that, neurotyping, and another technology that are those two companies that you mentioned, the same type of technology that I've helped promote in a sense. Yeah, so I want to make my own business around those two things. Personal training.
Cool, man. That's awesome. And you guys definitely see Tim has a wealth of knowledge. If you guys want to connect with him, I'll have him give you his contact information in a couple of minutes, and then I'll have it in the links in the description as well. So that was great overview, high level overview of what you can offer. You can appreciate, so you go into more depths, probably take a couple hours to kind of fully get that unwind so people can understand what you're saying. Now, do you currently offer any products or services if people are interested in anything?
Not yet. I am waiting for a product to offer my services in Stockholm. I want to be a personal trainer that goes to people's house and train them there. But I need first to have. It's a Kickstarter product that I help promote. It's called flywheel training. So the harder you pull on the machine, the more resistance it generates, and it can generate. Well, I'm remembering the difference between the Europe, like the metric system, and just like like 100 kilos. That was like closer to 250 pounds or something like that. It's a little bit difficult to remember how it should be converted right now.
Yeah. I don't even know. So,
but it's a great machine, and I feel like that technology, if that can gain traction and become more popular, I feel like it has potential to change the world. And I feel like I've been helping these two companies like for free, really, because I believe so much in the technology that it should be successful, because it can help so many people if it becomes successful. And that's my motivation.
Awesome.
I'm trying to become a little bit more like business minded. Okay, so I can actually offer value and I should actually charge for it. But my motivation is technology that I feel like can really make a difference. And if all the gyms in the world start using it, or like it's the best it's in rehab, the best use in rehab. it adapts to your level immediately, even if you're like beginner, intermediate, or pro. It can adapt to any level, and it's so quick. It's like, I don't know. To me, it's a conundrum that it hasn't gained more popularity. It could be because of costs, but they are finally becoming like going down the cost of like producing these kind of machines. And I really feel like I am at the forefront of technology when it comes to training, if I use that product. But like I said, my motivation is that I want this technology to be successful or like accessible and successful for anybody. That's my motivation.
That's a strong why. You know, that why keeps you going when times are hard, when you're tired, when you don't want to do something, when you're just lazy. Like that why that you say that, you know, it keeps you going and pushing through that resistance.
So, like as an evidence of my dedication, I flew to Spain to help a company promote their technology in English, because, well, their level of English in Spain is like not on par with Sweden, for example. And since I know Spanish, I was able to translate a lot, and it was an amazing experience for me. It's fun that I was part of a like Kickstarter campaign. I even did a live interview with the people working for the company, and I know that I had an impact, because I got some comments at least saying that they bought the product just because of my endorsement.
Wow.
Because I was able to express it in English so that they could finally understand what the company was like selling or like sharing. And for me, that was the biggest payoff that I know that I made a difference.
That's wow. That's amazing. Like, I just love how you said that you brought value and people saw the value, so they came and wow, I would like to actually try this product for myself. So it's really cool. So before I let you go, what is one piece of advice or wisdom that you can spread to the people of Zen out there, the audience? So what is one piece of advice?
I love that you say Zen and like piece of advice. It's like, I guess if you should work with just one word, you should work with ikigai. Ikigai is like the Japanese word for you should do what you love, what you can make money with. It's like trying to combine what you're saying, like spiritually. So I'm sorry, I cannot remember like all five of them like that.
Spiritually, financially, socially,
Yeah, and ikigai lines up with that so well. So if people try to find their ikigai, and I feel like you can have multiple purposes, actually. Like I have Los Bacañoles, which is like my, I guess, spiritual, social purpose. But with my training, it could be like in the technology, other things that I love, and it could be that helps me financially as well. So I can have two different purposes, and maybe one day I can even combine the two. And oh, that sounds too beautiful.
That's amazing. You will do it, man. You will. And how can people connect with you? Like, just so they want to reach out to you, talk to you more. How can people connect with you?
Well, searching for Los Bacañoles is perhaps the easiest way. I am extremely accessible. Maybe in the future it will turn out to be too much when you have your number, email, and all of those things very accessible. But you can find me on Instagram as Tim Biohacks, or my organization account, Suecanoles, because you cannot use that special letter, Enye, on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, although I don't use Twitter a lot, but you can still find me. And if you connect with me, I will definitely try to help. That's what I do.
It's your specialty.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this is great. Now, I definitely will have your information in the description below so people can connect with you. It's a pleasure speaking to you, Tim. Glad we connected
Likewise.
and met, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to work on some things in the future together and just grow and be able to look back like, hey, look at what we've accomplished. So any last words you want to leave with the people of Zen out there?
Ooh, know yourself and you can do great things.
Love that. Alrighty, guys. Well, you heard it from the great man, Tim himself. Again, if you guys
Thank
want
you.
to connect with him, I'll have his information in the description. So thank you for your time, Tim. This was amazing. And we're planning Green Zen signing off. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon.